What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of Klaudless and Indy. I'm Klaudless, and I'm in Indy, and fortunately for you, it is another beer review. Let's roll the intro. Hey guys, real quick, because I forgot to mention it in my intro and I kind of started going into the beer, I really wanted to make this statement that my videos do tend to run pretty long. So unless you are willing to wait 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes for me to crack open this beer, down in the description, I have put chapters. Right, so if you want to watch the entire video in its entirety, feel free to just continue on. But if you just want to get straight to the tasting, if you want to get straight to me drinking this delicious beer, then go to the timestamp that's in the timeline in this video or down in the description. All right, with that out of the way, let's get back to this video. All right, so I think after I got off of work this evening, I said to myself, I'm going to try to record at least 2 videos tonight. And then by the time I finished recording the last video, which was the Rainbow Haze, I was like, I think I'm done. I think I'm done for this evening. But I still had that urge, to make another video. And I'm like, what other beer of the many beers that I still have to review, what other beer could I review this evening that's not going to be too much, something light? And then I remembered, let me move this mic, and then I remembered the EOS, or rather, the EOS First Dawn, a Palladium experience. I'm not sure if I could get the can to focus there. Like in my previous video, I am doing this, it's pretty late at night right now. It is about midnight. Don't have the best lighting at the moment, but look at that. Let me see if I can get that closer. Celebrate the dawn, the perpetual dance that is the rising sun. EOS is a free celestial themed projection experience viewable after sunset on the Palladium, 1 Carter Green, Carmel, Indiana. And this is, of course, a pint glass. But I do have to make a note, as I've mentioned in almost all of my Sun King videos, I think, just the can design. Just look at that. I mean, to me, honestly, I can't get it to focus that much. But it almost looks like Darth Vader to me a little bit. Like, imagine that yellow piece right there being the belt buckle, so to say. But it's obviously not Darth Vader. And now, after further inspection, it almost looks like a woman's face, actually. And then there's even, like I said, unfortunately, I can't get it to show in the camera, but there's even, for lack of a better term, like holographic detail in the background. Maybe I'll take a picture of it and I'll post it on the side because my webcam just isn't picking it up. But this is absolutely amazing. Wow. And then of course you have the Palladium there on the bottom. But yeah, EOS, even though I call it EOS, but there's a reason why, and we'll get to that in a moment. But EOS The First Dawn, a Kolsch Style Ale. All right, so when I first saw this beer, I said to myself, EOS. What does that mean? Well, I started Googling because I couldn't find anything online about it. Did I accidentally close I think I accidentally closed the Untapped for the beer. There we go. Okay, so when I went to go Google the beer, that's all I got. Wait, is that all I got? Hold on. That's not right. Sorry about that. So when I went to go Google the beer, this is what I got. I'm like, are you serious right now? EOS The First Dawn by Sun King Brewery. There's no information on the can, so this is all I had to rely on. There was no information from any other sites that I could find with my quick 30-second Google search. Untapped was the only site that had something. And even when I scrolled down to the bottom of the page, Mr. Dan Doyle said I had to create this beer on Untapped so I could check in. Crazy. So, back to the point, what in the world does EOS mean? Does it mean Earth? Observing System? Equation of State? The exhaust oxygen sensor? Maybe the end of show? The First Dawn? No. And if you're watching, particular viewer, you may actually find this interesting, because I bet you didn't know. No. EOS is actually pronounced EOS. Who is EOS, you ask? Well, EOS, and I'll have to blur this picture here, so there'll just be a black screen because there is, unfortunately, some not safe for work. Unfortunately, there's a not safe for work image here. But EOS, in Greek mythology and religion, is the goddess and personification of the dawn, who rose each morning from her home at the edge of the river Oceanus to deliver light and disperse the night. In Greek tradition and poetry, she is characterized as a goddess with a great sexual appetite, who took numerous lovers for her own satisfaction and bore them several children, like her Roman counterpart Aurora and Rigvedic Ushash. I can't pronounce that. Eos continues the name of an earlier Indo-European dawn goddess, Hausos. Gone to the next one. Eos in Greco-Roman mythology, the personification of the dawn, daughter of the Titan Hyperion and the Titaness Thea, and the sister of Helios, the sun god, and Selene, the moon goddess. I thought that's pretty cool, to be honest with you. I mean, that's you already know how I love history, I love geography, and I love mythology, as you've seen in my previous videos, like with the Osiris there. just very awesome. And if you're watching, you know who you are. I hope you find this as interesting as I did. So moving on, what is the Palladium? Well, as you saw in the tab here that I already have up, there we go. There's kind of an image of Eos, the goddess of the dawn. And I've driven by the Palladium like a million times, but I don't think I've ever like paid attention to the show. And it is possible that every time I passed it, it may have been outside of the window where they were doing the when they were doing the presentation. But you can see here, I will post this link down in the description. So if you're interested in checking that out, check it out. As you can see here, Sun King Spirits. That's literally right down the road from from where I'm at. If you're interested, come see me bartend. Here we are. So what is this? The Paleidoscope is a one-of-a-kind, custom-made viewing system designed to play architectural cinema. Created specifically for the Palladium, it consists of 12 projectors. Oh my goodness. customized software and components that make visual experiences and projections possible, just as CinemaScope was an enhanced way to view movies. Projecting them at a larger size, Kaleidoscope takes that idea even further by moving beyond the screen and onto the physical architecture of the Palladium. That's pretty interesting. Definitely have to check that out. And looks like here they have an update. There's going to be some new stuff added to it. But a part of me wants to say, while this video is about the beer, not the Palladium, at the end of the day, this channel is called Klaudless in Indy, where I cover all things Indiana. One glass or beer at a time, I guess. is really what I'm thinking. But being that this is also the first time I've covered a Kolsch, this style of beer on this channel, I decided to go to beeradvocate.com and kind of pull up a rough definition of what they provide. So, first brewed in Köln. Let's see, Germany. Let's see. It's going to be light to medium in body with a soft mouthfeel and a straw yellow or pale gold color. Kolsch has a spicy herbal, noble hot bitterness that is medium to slightly assertive, less than a Pilsner, but not by much. A somewhat fruity or vinous, grapey for malts quality, and a crisp, dryish finish make up the rest of the flavor profile. Not gonna lie, I actually found this description quite surprising, because I have had this beer before, and I'm not sure if I was getting any of that, to be honest with you. But I don't know, maybe I just wasn't in the right frame of mind. But I'm really excited to be trying this beer for you guys right now. Alrighty, so before we crack open this beer, of course, we're using my trusty wine glass, exactly 14 ounces. I did rinse it, I didn't really dry it though. I think this is going to probably become a recurring theme. And of course, if you are a frequent viewer of my channel, then you know that I used to be an an apprentice electrician, and so I still have a lot of my tools with me, one of which is my Klein Tools voltage tester, which also comes with a laser thermometer. So we're going to test the temperature of this can right here. It has been out for a minute, and we're coming in at, getting a few different temperature readings here, but we're looking at 57.2 degrees Fahrenheit. But I'm going to turn that off there, and let's open it up. Yeah, not a lot of strong aroma straight from the can, but definitely a slight maltiness, a little bit of floral, just a hint of floral. Look at that. Look at that. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely. Just look at that head formation. Look at that. This is very clear, very straw to yellow, extremely transparent. I can see the logo completely on the other side. I think I can actually see my own reflection through the glass. I can see the webcam through the glass. But that head is absolutely nice. Very, very, I want to say it's almost creamy, right? Like a froth on a latte or something like that. But lots of tiny bubbles, the few medium-sized bubbles. When I look through the glass, though, very, very little carbonation. I actually have to get pretty close to see any CO2 bubbles. They're there, all right, but not a lot. So to me, just looking at this, I'm expecting this to be pretty smooth, and also a pretty light body. But we won't know until we get to the tasting. Smells pretty similar. Hold on. All right, I'm back. Had to feed my daughter. She had woken up. But yeah, we're back to the beer. But like I said, slightly malty, slightly floral, and honestly, kind of reminds me. I want to say it kind of reminds me as if, like, I want to say like a pale lager. That's almost what it smells like. Wow. So I want to say all the flavor was kind of like in the front and mid of the palate, and then that second half, pretty much the entire second half, there wasn't really any flavor at all. Very smooth though, very easy drinking. Wow. I want to say there's almost like a slight sweetness there, but it's very slight. I want to say it's almost, this is probably like a weird comparison, but before I started working at Sun King, Bud Light used to be my home beer, my house beer. You know, sure, I would have craft beer in the fridge, but if anyone ever came over, I would always have Bud Light in the fridge. And I want to say at a certain temperature, the Bud Light could actually be, there could be a tad bit flavor in the Bud Light, just a tad bit sweetness. And this beer here kind of reminds me of that. The main difference, of course, is there's pretty much low to zero carbonation. I want to say that the CO2 bubbles are a lot more present now as the beer warms up. It has been a moment. I want to say, roughly 30 minutes have passed or so. But yeah. That's very, very light. Now, I want to say every shift that I work, I always get people saying, and I don't know if they're people who come by every now and then, or if these are just completely new people. But the most common question that I get is, well, two questions is, what kind of Pilsners do you have? Or what do you have that's similar to like a Coors? And hands down, of course, the options, at least that we're told, or have been told in the past, or at least that I've been told, is to suggest the Pachanga, or the Sunlight Cream Ale. And to me, I'm going to review. It's been way too long. I probably should have reviewed the Sunlight Cream Ale a while ago, but I'll get to that. But that's not one I would recommend. We have some. I keep saying we, but yes, the Sun King Caramel has plenty of other beers that are pretty comparable, and I would say not many people have thought about it. But even before this tasting, I have actually thought about it, that this beer is actually pretty comparable to that. Sure, like I said, it doesn't have the carbonation, it doesn't necessarily have the crispiness. I think as said in that description, did it say that? Excuse me. But it's somewhat fruity and vinous quality and a crisp, dryish finish. I mean, honestly, I'm not really getting that. But as I said, it may not have that. I swear, it's like slight tangent, it's like once you hear your baby crying, it's almost like you always hear them crying. It's like you just, I don't know, it's just like that instinct. Obviously, she's not crying at the moment, but I still hear her crying for some strange reason. But it's not strange. I'm a dad. So that's a thing. But anyways, if they had this on tap, I'm pretty sure that this beer would actually sell fairly well. I don't know if they've had it on tap before. Maybe they have, and that wasn't the case. But I think a lot of people actually would like this beer, especially the people who like, I want to say, who go to the Pachanga as their default. Not necessarily because that's their favorite, but rather because of the core beers. You know, that's just the one that they're most familiar with. Plus, there's Lilia Pinata on the can. But yeah, the beer's warmed up a bit, so. But yeah, like I said, it's very strange. Because, I don't know, maybe it was too cold. Maybe that's what it is, and I think I've said that before. And this is actually a thing of pale lagers, right? And I think this was even said in the beer class that I had recently, where there's not a lot of flavor. There's not going to be a lot of flavor in the beer, and the beer isn't, I guess, going to be the best quality, and so you want to serve that beer at a relatively cold temperature, 38 degrees. So you're really not gonna taste the beer. That's the whole point, is just drink it cold, finish it cold, and you taste the least, I guess, amount of flavor in the beer. But I don't care for that, right? I mean, I'm literally drinking Bud Light at between 55 61, 62 degrees. So I'm not minding. I want the flavor, and I actually like Bud Light, despite all the controversy. Funny story about how I actually got into drinking Bud Light. Very funny story. Maybe I'll talk about that in another video. But this is surprisingly, I don't know, like I said, my past, I wasn't really a fan of it, but for some reason in this tasting, maybe because, as I said, I gave it like 30 minutes because I had to go feed my daughter, so it was just sitting here just warming up, and wow. Wow. But like your pale lagers, not a lot of flavor. Just slight, subtle flavor. But still good. With that being said, I personally wouldn't buy a keg of this. Like, why? You know, but could this be a house beer? Oh, could this be a house beer? Sure. You know, this could definitely replace my Bud Light, hands down, as just my session beer, something I'm just drinking throughout the day, right? You know, if I was at a festival, Oktoberfest, I could definitely have a few liters of that, no problem, especially if I'm, you know, there all day, you know, just making this my main beer. Just carry a slight buzz. Yeah. So with that being said, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. This has been me, Klaudless and Indy, reviewing EOS First Dawn, the Greek goddess of the dawn. Excuse me. And if you like this video, like, subscribe, yada yada, all my stuff down in the description. And with that being said, before we go, I actually wrote it down this time. So she wrote it down this time. So cheers, salud, slancha, na zdrovia, prost, and peace out. And I'll see you guys in the next one.